Hello friends and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Now, last episode we made really good progress in getting oil processing up and running, and we have our first diesel generator sitting right behind us, reaping the benefits of that upgrade. Now today we need to continue down that path and start unlocking plastic so we can be getting to the next tier of research. So, without any further ado, let's dive right in. All right, so this is what we are talking about today. We are trying to work our way to chemical research, which is a long ways away. For that, we're going to need advanced plating, plastic frames, and pyrotheum dust. Now, we haven't unlocked the pyrotheum dust yet either, but we're going to avoid that as much as we can today to go through as much of the plastic chain here as we can. So first things first, we need to get started by making ourselves a salt mixer. So a salt mixer is relatively straightforward with a bunch of ingredients that we already know how to make. These are all from Nuclear Craft. So let's see if we can't get that up and running. Go to our advanced storage remote here, and we need a machine chassis, which means we need a machine frame. We should be able to make a few of those because we had a bunch left over already. We need to then wrap that in lead and aluminum, which it looks like our inventory is filling up quick here. So let's try that again. Lead and aluminum, perfect. And now we should be able to make our electric motor. I think we have everything for that except for, the gold nuggets. So we need to make a few gold nuggets here. Let's start there. And the electric motor should be then pretty cheap for us. Okay, got that. And now all that's missing is our basic plating. Again, that's real easy. We've made a bunch of basic plating so far in the past, and voila, we have our salt mixer unlocked. So this apparently is a machine for blending fluid. Okay, so with the salt mixer unlocked, we now need to figure out how to make ethylene. So naphtha and hydrogen apparently get combined to make ethylene, but how do we make hydrogen? So let's see here. First things first, our recipe for ethylene, ethanol, methanol, ethylene. Okay, so let's add that. This is what we're going for. And this seems to be, yes, naphtha as promised, and hydrogen. Now, hydrogen, let's see here, we need an electrolyzer. Yeah, because we can't do whatever this is in our chemical reactor. We don't have hydrofluoric acid. So, ooh, and it looks like this produces deuterium as well. So we need an electrolyzer. So let's add that to our shopping list here. Can we make one of those yet, or are we missing some of the ingredients? So the electron tubes require vacuum tubes, and that requires nickel plates and a bunch of copper wire in our engineer's workbench. That should be easy enough for us. And what kind of rods? Steel rods. Yeah, we know how to make those. Solenoids we know how to make, and machine chassis we know how to make, and flux electrum we have in production now. Okay, so let's start off here by making our 6 vacuum tubes, and that means we need 6 nickel plates. So we go to our nickel here, and let's just grab up 6 of those, like so. And we don't have a generic plate machine anywhere over here yet that uses the press, the metal press that we've gotten. We have to use these big metal presses instead, the 1 block metal press. What's it? The compactor, I think that's what it's called. So we're gonna go ahead and grab these up and clean up our inventory a little bit while we're at it. Okay, there's our 6 nickel plates. And now we need to make our vacuum tube with these copper wires. Do we have any copper wire left? I thought we had some in here. Yeah, we've got copper wire, we've got redstone, and we've got glass. And those should be in other containers anyway, so we're helping ourselves out by picking a bunch of this up. There we go. Now we go over here to our engineer's workbench, and we just put all of these ingredients in there. Oh, and we don't need 18. That's all we need. We only need 6. So we actually made way too many ingredients there. So let's clear that out real quick and drop off our extras. Great. And now what do we want to do here? We need to make these amplifier electron tubes. And we already had all the ingredients we need for that. Okay, so we've got 2 of those. That's funky. I don't know where those came from, but immersive engineering? Huh. What are these used for in immersive engineering? Oh, it's to improve the guns you can make. That's why. All right. So let's make ourselves some basic plating. Good. Do we have another machine frame laying around? No, we have to make another one of those. And a machine chassis. Great. And that should be everything except for the fluxed electrum. Okay, let's hop over and see if we can't steal some flux electrum real quick from this setup. Perfect. Got it just before it got picked up. And there we go. There's our electrolyzer. Wonderful. Okay, so we need some sort of a temporary space to start making this stuff. Although we might need it in bulk now that I think about it. So I tell you what we'll do. We'll go over here to where our naphtha production is already at. And which of these is naphtha? I keep forgetting. It's been a little bit. Gasoline is being used there. Lubricant is here. Yeah, there's our naphtha. Okay, so maybe we just build this out right over in this direction here, where we don't have any storage yet. So we can just clear ourselves a little bit of space, start making room. And yeah, we can run these logic cables to power it and do everything else too. No reason we can't just use that same cabling system. So let's go ahead and put this down here. Okay, that's a funky looking block. And the other thing we need for this is probably some storage tanks, which we have, looks like 2 of already. With this one has gasoline in it, so we're going to empty that one. But then the other one we can use lubricant, gasoline, right? Right. So let's empty that. Good. And we need an aqueous accumulator. I thought we had some extras laying around, so let me go dig through our storage and see if I can find one. Yeah, there we go. I thought we had an aqueous accumulator. Great. So we grab that up and teleport back over here. Wonderful. And I think, I'm not positive, but we should be able to insert into this. Now, our naphtha is mainly going in there right now, and that's our storage for it, but I could put a fluid interface on the top, and then it would also pull into here. Maybe that's what we want to do. Separate out our pipes a little bit. Well, if I put this down right on it, and I set this to export on the back, is the electrolyzer already getting water? Yeah, it's already getting water. Great. And so the only thing that this is now missing is power. And I think we can do that with our regular energy interface if we put an output card on it. So let's grab our output card. Output variable transformer, excuse me. Gotta get my terminology right. And then we'll run some logic cables up here. Just like this. Okay, so let's come over here, come up a little bit, and we're gonna put our energy exporter there. This just needs a card to tell it to export energy. And now it's getting power, and that means it should know that it's supposed to be electrolyzing here. Oh, that is slow. Let's see here. Can I increase the energy transfer rate? What can this do? 5,000? Is that right? Yeah, that seems to work. Okay, now it's getting power. Okay, so our electrolyzer is getting power, but I can't see why it's not doing anything. Oh, it is doing something. It's just very, very slow. See there? That line is ticking. So while we're waiting on that, let's go ahead and configure the output off of this. And we're going to use these for storage. So we're going to do that by using our fluid interfaces again. So we have a bunch of those. And we just need our output adapters again. There we go. And you know what? We're running out of these output variable transformers. So let's make another stack of those. And we're going to use all 3 of these to make 3 fluid exporters, just like so. Okay, great. And this just needs now another fluid interface, actually. We need to have one for that, just to say, get your fluids out of it. We had made way too many buckets, so we should have lots of fluid interfaces easily made. Okay. And again, since this is not Ender IO, we can't just attach this on the same square, so we're going to put that on the side instead. It's okay if everything's a little further apart. So there we go. Yeah, this is cooking. So we're going to tell it that the first one is going to be a fluid that's exporting our deuterium. Let's do that first, right? Because that's going to be used for something, but I don't know what yet. So nuclear deuterium, right? Sorry, I'm not pronouncing that correctly. So we add that and we make a card for it. Okay, that's gonna go in here like so. And then oxygen will need to go in the next. So let's grab nuclear craft oxygen. Yeah, that's the one. And we do that in our logic programmer, of course. So add that here. And we memorize that to a card. And then oxygen will be able to go into this one. Like so. Where'd that card go? I just lost it. Okay, great. And then our hydrogen will be the last one that we do here. So hydrogen. So that's a fluid. We add that to the card like so. Now, all of these are fluids, which is different from mechanism, which we actually have a thing called a gas in mechanism, which is a little different here. Okay, so now we put down our salt mixer. I had the fractioning still here. That is the wrong machine. And this, we are going to want to use our fluid exporter here. But this actually should get 2 things. This should get hydrogen and naphtha. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. So go back here, list of fluids. And the first fluid that we're going to give it is hydrogen, like so. And we need to give a variable card here. There, and then naphtha. Naphtha. Okay. And we'll add that. There. Okay, hydrogen and naphtha. It should both be getting out now. And we tell this to export fluids, multiple fluids. So that's already getting naphtha. That's easy. And we're just waiting on the electrolyzer to produce hydrogen and export that. So this fluid interface should be taking all of it. Yeah, I don't know why it's not getting that out, because this is a fluid interface. Maybe it's because I messed with the configuration. Let's do that. Yeah, there we go. Now it's exporting all of them. And now we're getting hydrogen here, and the salt mixer is already working. Okay, excellent. Love it when a plan comes together. So we're going to go ahead and add another cable here, and this time we're going to put our fluid interface on that so that we can get the resulting, what are we even making here? Ethylene back out. Okay, so we have 500 ethylene ready to roll. So let's look at our quests. We have ethylene now. Done. Now from that, we need to make liquid plastic. So we mix that with oxygen in the salt mixer. Okay, so that means we need to make another salt mixer. Okay, so here's our second fluid mixer. We are going to put ourselves another energy exporter on this side here. And we will go ahead and... Oh, that's the wrong one. I thought I had the energy exporter in my hand. I did not. There's the energy exporter. And we're going to go ahead and give that a card to export energy as well. There we go. That should not be getting naphtha, though. I don't know why it's getting naphtha. Oh, it's because I put a fluid interface on it and it just automatically started taking the wrong item. Okay, that's fine. Good to know. So this has got naphtha, this has got hydrogen, and so it's making ethylene. We need to then take this and insert our oxygen along with our ethylene this time. So another fluid list. And this time, let's do oxygen. There we go, add that. And then ethylene. Ethylene. There we go. Like that. Okay, oxygen, ethylene. Let's go ahead and put our fluid interface on here. Nope, that's the wrong one also. Haha. We need to make a fluid exporter. So we grab our output variable card again. There we go. We put that on here and we give it a card like so. Okay, so this should be doing its thing here, and that is going to give us our oxygenated ethylene, I guess? Is that what's coming out? Fluid liquid plastic. Okay. And we have to actually make a plastic ingot. So this is apparently where the fractioning still comes back into play. Okay, there's our fractioning still. And let's see here, we put some more logic cables down like so. And we'll put one on the side here because this once again needs power. This also needs to be a fluid interface. But let's use the one we've already got in hand. So output there. And grab ourselves another energy exporter. There we go. And we were going to put that down here. And this will export energy. Okay. So we don't yet know how to make plastic because we actually have to unlock the material. Okay, looks like we have just enough here. Submit all of these. And now plastic is unlocked. Okay, so all we need to do is teach a card how to do liquid fluid plastic here. So fluid. And this is what we were aiming for. Add that. Wonderful. And then we need to make ourselves another fluid interface to export like so. And we will put this here and we're going to give it that card. This needs to be told that it can receive items on the back. So let's give it a blue input. Yeah, and immediately we have our plastic ingots. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to need a storage location for those plastic ingots because we want to make a bunch of them over time. So let's go ahead and make ourselves a basic drawer. And we already had a bunch already made, so we're not really making one, we're just having a plastic drawer. And let's push our output to the top. There we go. And the other thing we need to do here is this needs to get another fluid interface because we want to make that oxygen available again into the system as well. So we're going to put a fluid interface on this side, and we're going to say that the red output can go to the left. There we go, and that oxygen automatically disappears. Now, the last thing to do here on our plastic chain is to make this an item interface. So let's see here. We have an item interface there, and we put that on the back, and now our storage network, integrated dynamics network, knows about plastic as well. Okay, so we dropped in all these upgrades, but now we're just burning through power too quick. We're gonna have to downgrade and just let it go slow. We need to find a balance where the energy that's being used and the energy that's being stored is roughly equal. And 8 is way too many. Yeah, 7's right on that line. If we go any higher, then we just chew through all of our power. Now, what we could do to deal with that, I believe we might have enough research that we can unlock our HV cables. Let's go bop over there and see if we have enough for that. Okay, I think we've got enough for HV cables. So let's go ahead and submit all of these. Great. And then our HV energy conduits. Oh, are we short on those? No, I think we've got enough for that too. Okay, submit that. Ah, there we go. We just had the wrong flavor. Okay, wonderful. So that's all now taken care of. Okay, so what is necessary to make HV energy conduits? Well, it looks like we need enderium. Well, it's a good thing we have been making enderium. That's relatively easy for us. And these HV wire relays need lumium. So we've been making a bunch of lumium as well. Let's teleport over here to where we've got our lumium and enderium. And it looks like we've been using all of it into our gear processing. That is kind of a shame because we need a little bit of this here. Now what is our bottleneck? Ah, slag is our bottleneck. That's what we've been messing up. So we can have a whole lot more if we just upgrade the storage of this. There we go. All right, so let's grab up a stack of lumium and we will accidentally rotate that, and then we'll just need to wait for enderium. Okay, so we've got to stack each of lumium and enderium. So to make our HV energy conduits, we need to start with our HV wire relays. So let's make a bunch of those. Let's do 16 for now. 16 sounds great. And then we need a bunch of HV wire connectors. Do another 16 here. Great. And then we use those with our enderium to make the upgraded pipes, but we're going to want to use our MV energy conduits as well, because that's going to give us much more output. So if you look at the two recipes, this is the same as previous rounds, where you get 4 if you do not use MV energy conduits, but you double that and get 8 if you do. So that's awesome. So let's go ahead and wrap this like so, and then we just give it the relays like that. Okay, there we go. We have 128 HV energy conduits. Now, the real issue is that I need to get that energy from all the way over there, all the way back here. And that's a long way to take this. But that's easily solved because we have one magical superpower here, which is we don't have to have this entire factory set up here. We can use our integrated dynamics cables to have our inputs and our outputs wherever we want. So in theory, if I wanted to build a factory that is closer to my power production, I could do that. Now, these cables are only going to max out at 500 RF per tick, or is it 1,000 per tick on these? What is the 5,000 per tick, right? But these dynamos are not going to cap out anyway. So this is not a problem here pulling the power out of that. Now, my energy battery, I don't know if there's a limit on that. Let's check real quick. Does an energy battery have an input and an output limit? It does not appear to. Okay, so that means if we ran HV cables off of this, we could run an HV cable up and out of this facility and provide HV power to wherever we wanted nearby. Now, it would have to be relatively close by because, again, we only have 128 of those cables right now. That's not a super lot amount. But we do have some space here in the other place where we're already doing nuclear craft stuff. This is where we are making our, the polymer clay. And this might be an adequate facility to start setting up if we wanted to expand in this direction here a little bit, out over the rest of our factory that we had started putting together for power production. So we could actually just run all of that power kind of right up through the roof here if we wanted. So maybe that's what we'll do here. I'm going to take a second and relay all of this out and see if I can't get all of these pieces of the puzzle put together. Okay, and there we go. We've moved everything over here where our polymer clay for our item fabrication is done. So right now we have our electrolyzer getting water from an aqueous accumulator back behind this. Actually, all of our water and power pipes are running behind, and we have upgraded to the HV cables as mentioned. And then next to the electrolyzer, we have our salt mixer that's getting naphtha from our storage way down there. Then up here, we take our ethylene and our oxygen and mix that into our plastic liquid stuff. And then the fractioning still turns the liquid plastic into plastic ingots. And these get exported back into the system and into our main storage over in that building. So now our high voltage cables are all connected up. Now, the way that we did that, it took me a little while to puzzle through the most effective way I could think of to do this, because I have still these MV cables coming off of these arrays of steam dynamos as well. But I figured the MV Energy Conduits, I could leave all this in place, and I just put a capacitor bank in front. Now, because I have a 4x5 here, it's got a max input and output of 10,000. So that's all that we really need to pull for these HV conduits for now. These conduits do go up to 50,000, but we will burn that bridge when we come to it. We could do this with an energy battery or something else, I'm sure, but this should be fine for now. And I've got 4 of these all along the way here. So each of these will allow us to input and pull our power back out. Now, eventually I'll need to redo all of my mainline cables, but I haven't had time to fabricate enough of these HV cables to redo that, as I did in the previous episode, going from LV to MV. But that for now gives us our HV power into our system. Now, the diesel generator is not yet plugged into that whole energy system, and if I do more diesel generators, which I probably should do if I can get my oil production up high enough, I can then do a whole bank of these over this way. Now, that being said, in the course of doing this, our plastic production is real slow right now, and I think that's going to present a major bottleneck. So to get further, when we start doing the chemical research, this is going to be a problem for us. Our plastic frames require plastic rods, and that requires 2 plastic ingots. We are not going to get very far at this rate. So I might have to tear all of this up again and make myself a much more massive factory with banks of electrolyzer, banks of salt mixers, banks of the fractioning stills to get all of this working. It's gonna take a lot more work, and I'm probably gonna do that between episodes. Okay, so we moved our plastic storage over here to our new area where we had been doing everything that we needed for the purple research. So our electrum processing, our automation of our redstone engineering blocks, all of that is over here in this back corner factory that we had built out. And so now plastic ingots are coming into the system from this drawer controller that's hooked up to the rest of our integrated dynamics network. So now what remains is to make sure that we can do the other items that we want to go with this for our next stage of production. So the next thing that's immediately on the list is plastic sheets. And for that, we are going to need to put it into a compactor. Again, this is the same thing that we were doing before. But the other thing in addition to that we are eventually going to need for our chemical research is going to be these plastic frames. And for that we need plastic rods. And it says that these cannot be made in a sequential fabricator. So we need to put both of those things together somehow. So we need to make ourselves a compactor. So a compactor, here we go. Just like this, should be relatively easy. What are we missing? We are missing one of the machine frames. We can make one of those. And we are missing a block of redstone, also easily made. And there we go, one compactor. Great. Now, we want to hook this up to this whole system here. So we also want to make sure that this is only getting the right item back out of itself. So let's put it here. And just for simplicity's sake, we can just tell it to auto import off of that. So this needs power into our system. So to put the power into it, we are going to once again use our logic cables here, like so. And we are going to use an energy exporter. I think I have a few of those left. I do. I have a lot of those left. Put that down here. And that just needs a card telling it to get plastic. Or, excuse me, not to get plastic, to get power. It's getting plastic from the top. Okay, so that should slowly but surely start getting electricity. So we've got plastic plates now. Now all we need to do is tell this that it needs to export back into our system here. Now there's a variety of different ways that we could do that, but we're going to use one of the simpler ones here. we're going to come up on this side, and we are going to tell it that it needs to have an item importer. Let's see if we can find where my item importers are. If I have any left, oh, there we go. We have an item importer. And we're going to now tell it that it needs to import plastic plates. So let's go here, and we're going to do plate, plastic. There you go, plastic plates. Okay, so we will put this in there. Okay, so this should, as soon as we put the item importer on it, know that it needs to import plastic plates out of there. So we tell this to export on the right, and now it needs to know where to go. So we're gonna put plastic plates in here. Let's do that. And there you can see it automatically sucked the rest of those back into our system. That's great. That's just what we want to see. Okay, this took me forever to get working, so let me just walk through this. I was trying to make plastic rods, and I could not find a reliable way to do it, unfortunately. I was trying to use a variety of different autocrafters. I tried using the integrated dynamics autocrafting, and it said that you can't do it that way. I tried to use the super factory manager. It said that you can't do it that way. I've tried everything I could think of. It said in the notes that you cannot use the sequential fabricator. So to make the rods, our plastic rods that we need, I just went back to auto workbenches. I kind of hate this. I wish there was a better way, but the metal press is very unreliable unless I set up exactly this sort of a setup here. I can't get it to work properly with integrated dynamics without overflowing items. And since our plastic production is so low, I can't risk that right now. Eventually, maybe I can set up something like that for our rods, but this is not working for us. So instead, what I've done here is I'm using Ender.io item conduits to pull out of our drawer controller into our auto workbenches, which are making our plastic rods and feeding them back into our drawer controller. So that's a little closed loop there. Our plastic plate production is still being done in a compactor. I wish the compactor could make rods, but it cannot. And then I'm using a super factory manager just to make sure I'm using every possible mod in the pack to make my plastic frames. So that's taking the rods and plates out of the system and putting them back into the system as frames. Now, I wish the super factory manager I could use to make our rods. It did not like that. It wouldn't let me do it. It just wouldn't work. So this all comes together to finally, at long last, make our frames. But as I mentioned before, our production of our plastic ingots is very, very slow right now. So we need to radically increase the production of our ingots before we can really get this up to speed for our research. Well, friends, I'm going to be honest, this has been very frustrating to set up. If you all have any tips on how to make this even more optimized, better ways of auto-crafting rods, or other setups that you've done, please send those comments my way. I'm always excited to find new ways to make this more efficient than what I've done here, because this kind of feels cobbled together and I don't really love it. So, thanks again for all of your tips. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.